Right, team, online education is about to change forever. Whether you're an online coach, maybe a consultant like me, or an educator, if you're looking to scale a business that guides people to a specific result, if you're looking to grow that business from 6 to 7 figures per year, the rules of the game for how to do it just got turned upside down. Because the truth is, a reset has already begun. I've seen so many videos pop up on my recommended feed from other creators talking about how they're burning down their business because they ended up building something that they truly hate. Sat managing a sales team all day, feeling farther away than ever from being an entrepreneur, actually living a life of fun, freedom, and fulfillment, taking home less money than they did when they worked their last 9 to 5. I mean, I worked with a creator who this year she reached out to me for some help. She was making 70K a month top line, and she was taking home less cash than her sales team members. Are you fucking serious? I've been sat here all year, like that scene from Pulp Fiction, you know, the one with John Travolta, where he's like, I'm wondering, am I the only one who actually loves what the fuck I do? Now, considering it really was only 2 years ago that I was so fucking broke, over 30K in debt, that my card would get declined when I'd go and try and buy food. But now, this year, I've averaged over 105K per month in new deal value. Just this year in 2025, I operate between 88 and 96% operating profit margins each month. It's been over a year now since I last did a sales call. I don't have any sales team. I don't have a single sales team member. I don't have setters. I don't have closers. It's just me. And I've had some really cool, like, dream bucket list shit happen. I moved into my dream Riverside apartment here in London, finally got the office of destiny. I got myself the Porsche that I'd had on my vision board for like 2 years, got that a couple of months ago. Now get this, a few weeks ago in September, 14 years after first reading the book that got me hooked on the idea of entrepreneurship when I was in dental school, I inadvertently completed the 4-hour work week. Now, it wasn't intentional. It was actually kind of fucked because my girlfriend had to have a shitload of medical treatment. So I could only average an hour or so of work per day to really just look after my clients. But the truth is, nothing beats how fucking sick it feels to wake up every morning getting to help cool people do cool shit. It's not about the 4-hour work weeks. It's not about the Porsche. It's not about the fucking any of that shit. It's actually feeling like the work we do makes a difference to people's lives, right? So yes, we are now experiencing a huge disruption in the online education space. But the good news is, with a great disruption comes insane opportunity. And heading into 2026, a new era of online education has opened. And I think it's cool. Hey, look, I'm not going to be the twat sat here painting a picture of doom and gloom. I'm super excited about the evolution the online education space is going through. It's tossing out players who weren't in it for the right reasons. And it means that if you're here because you genuinely love to help people, then it means you're in the right place. So here's the deal. Over the course of the next 6 videos here on my YouTube channel, I'm going to share with you what I've been doing to grow my business from 6 to 7 figures per year, future-proof it with an AI spine, design it for massive feeling of fulfillment, optimize it for fuckloads of freedom, and most importantly, maximize it for shitloads of fun. I want you to be a true lifestyle entrepreneur, not just an average business builder wearing a shiny pair of golden handcuffs like everyone else. Okay, before we dive in, if you want everything that we're going to cover over the next 6 videos sent straight into your inbox and summarized into a simple 3-minute daily read, there's a link below in the description where you can sign up for my 6 to 7 figures in 7 days mini course. Okay, so I don't know about you, but for me, AI has changed everything. You're not just competing against other humans now. You're competing against an infinite army of 24/7, 365 days per year optimized little robots. And in the past year, the explosion of AI tools and platforms means there's been a tsunami of AI-generated content flooding the market. SEO has been turned on its head. 10 years ago, Google scraped 2 pages of your content and sent you back 1 visitor. That was the deal exchange there. Today, though, they scrape 18 pages and give you jack shit in return. Look, in the past 6 months, the way people use Google is completely transformed. Previously, we'd ask a question and then scroll the pages, maybe go down a few links and maybe click on a few links. But in just the past 6 months, 75% of all Google searches now are answered right on Google with the AI overview at the top, the little box at the top of the search results. Your content that you might have spent years, maybe decades even building this giant pool of content, of this SEO optimized content, Google's just come along and gone, fuck you. And instead, they just summarize it and monetize it and give nothing to you. And with the sudden flood of automated AI content entering the market, the organic fuel is starting to run dry. And here's the fucked up thing. The same has happened to paid advertising. AI platforms have made it easier than ever to make an infinite number of ad creatives. So big brands with big budgets are the ones who mop up advertising bid spots. You have to remember, even though you're an educator, you're still competing for ad placements against the biggest brands in the world. Now, back 4 years ago, I was literally a funnel analytics consultant for many of those brands. Luxury brands like Chanel, Selfridges, Harrods, retail brands like Tommy Hilfiger, Superdry, Sweaty Betty, banks like NatWest in the UK and TSB, hospitality and travel brands like Pizza Hut and Virgin Atlantic. They were my clients. My job was to look at their data and tell them where the leaks were in their funnels. So I saw their cold ad budgets. You can't compete with them. You can't. Their budgets are monstrous. Look, here's the thing. 3 years ago, the model was simple for online educators, okay? It was run a cold ad to a VSL opt-in page, get a percentage of them to book a call, close 25% of them. Simple. Money in the bank account. 3 years ago, with a winning ad and a basic VSL, you could get qualified booked calls for 30 to 50 bucks. Not anymore. I know people who haven't moved on from that model, and they are lucky if they get a qualified call booked for 300 bucks. That's a 10x in acquisition costs, a 10x. On top of that, if you're running this model, you're constantly having to battle with the revolving door of sales team management, finding new setters who fuck off after 6 months. And you end up spending most of your day as a sales manager. And as someone who used to work in sales, that ain't why I became an entrepreneur. Now, not to toot my own horn, but I will. 2 years ago, I saw the writing on the wall and realized I needed to make a shift. The cool thing is, it's all documented on my channel right here. You can go back 2 years where I first started talking about this change. I was studying what the top online educators were doing and realized that they were doing things very differently to what was getting taught. Lads like the Abdal, the Co-Meister, the Gadzi, the Hormozy. These lads were doing things differently. Instead of building this insane cold ad funnel where you'd end up with this big old pile of dead leads that just were pointless, they were doing something way, way, way different. They were building micro cult brands to build insane levels of leverage and storing that energy that they were pouring into their brands into a flywheel instead of a funnel. So 2 years ago, I said, fuck it. Let's give this shit a go, okay? Since building my One Simple Flywheel 24 months ago, I haven't had to run cold ads in nearly 2 years for lead generation. I've 10x'd my audience from 8,000 to over 80,000 on Instagram, doubled my audience here on YouTube, and collected over 25,000 leads in the process. But most importantly, I have a business that I truly love. Okay, so I've got one goal for the rest of this video, okay? So I'm gonna help you build your minimum viable flywheel for 2026. I'm gonna give you the bird's eye view of what's been working for me and the rest of the Scale 20 crew for the past 2 years. And I'm gonna help you get clear on what you need to focus on to actually build something you truly love. If you're up for that, let's dig into the iPad. Okay, so I know it's not just me, but I'm sensing a big old shifteroo in the online education space. Now, I think that's honestly driven by AI. Genuinely, it's just the facts. Because you're not just competing against other humans now. You're competing against an infinite army of 24/7, 365 days per year optimized robots and the nerds who are running those optimized robots. Those guys are creating a tsunami of AI-generated shite, flooding the market, and that's done two things. First, it's actually massively increased the amount of organic content that's flooding these platforms. And that has also resulted in increased competition for ads. So there's been a double whammy of like increased organic content, a wave that has ended up in this flood and resulted in ad space competition exploding. That means ad costs have skyrocketed. Organic reach is actually tanking. It's just going down right now. If you haven't noticed it, you're probably not making enough content, but it's absolutely happening. Even the biggest players in the space, their organic reach is going down. At least it's dropped off a cliff in the past year. The old methods of client generation, they're not working anymore. Here's the thing, trust is at an all-time low. We're going to talk about this in a future episode, but there's a couple of things that's going on. Prospects are sick of calls, all right? Like that's just the reality. People don't want to get on call. I've never want to get on a call to work with someone. I don't need to. I know if I want to buy something, I will just buy it. Most people are like that. Founders are also sick of having to manage teams or take calls themselves. Spending hours on Zoom calls ain't the vibe. It ain't the vibe for me. It nukes my energy and I don't want to do it. And what's happening is people are burning down their businesses. I'm seeing this on YouTube. I'm seeing this all the time. People popping up being like, burning down my business, starting from scratch, not doing a sales team, not fuck it. And it's like jumping on a bandwagon. It's like, It's not a bandwagon. It's just, you were just doing things like a dipshit. Now, what was happening was that they were running businesses with terminally low profit, operating margins of like 70, 80%, where they were taking less money home than their sales team. It's unsustainable. So unsustainable numbers. And this is one of the reasons why. Okay. So cost per qualified call has like 10x in the past like 3 years. 3 to 5 years ago, you could get calls for like 10 to 30 bucks a head, or a pop, or a call even. Now I know people who are running the same types of funnels that were working and getting these $30 book calls 3 years ago, and they're like $300 per book call. And they're still there sitting in front of a camera being like, this is great, guys. You can get a call for $300. You just need to pump this much money on ad spend to be able to get there. We're going to go through the numbers in a second. And then finally, big team headache, feeling like a manager instead of a maker. We got into this because we ultimately, entrepreneurs are synonymous with being creators. Creator, entrepreneur, in my opinion, is the same word. You did not get into this to manage, you got into it to make. That's what we're gonna do. So here's what happened. The math broke, okay? So like I said, back in the day, people were running a cold ad to an opt-in page, then getting into a VSL. There'd be like an 80% drop off before people even watch the VSL, maybe a 10 to 20% opt-in rate to watch the VSL. They'd then have to fill in a form, like a little mini application, like a qualifying form, to be able to get onto a call with the sales team or the founder. And they're booking that call at $300. And guess what? People are closing clients. They were closing way more a few years ago because this number was 10 times lower. So here are the numbers, right? So if your goal is $100,000 a month and you have an offer of say 5K on average, let's look at the numbers here. So you would need 20 calls at $300 a head, and that would be $6,000 to get those 20 calls at a 5K offer, okay? That's assuming a really solid 25% closing rate. Now, what that means, to get those calls, you would need to spend $24,000 in total ad spend for that month, because 6,000 times 4, because the closing rate is 25%, means you got to spend 4 times 6,000, which is 24,000. I think that's my rough maths. I'm shit at maths, okay? That's why I don't do these types of like complex business models. But that's numbers. To get 100 grand, you're going to spend a quarter of it on ad spend to be able to get enough calls to be able to fill your pipeline. Now, then add on the sales team, okay? So you got a setter at 5%, you're giving them 5K. You got a closer at 15%, you're giving them 15K. That means you're totaling 20 grand in your sales team cost. So 20 grand plus 24 grand is 44K, okay? Add on a client success person, maybe 5 grand, and that's 50 grand. That's 50 grand just before you pay yourself and pay tax. And so this is where the math ends up not working, because people end up having teams that they end up making less money than their team members. And this genuinely does happen, sadly. So the question is, how are we going to win in 2026? Well, I'm going to give you the game plan, at least the game plan that's worked for me. Firstly, you are going to lean into your autism to become a super magnet with a micro cult brand. Secondly, you are going to throw your bullshit funnel in the bin and build a future-proof, evergreen, One Simple Flywheel brand instead. Thirdly, you're going to stop doing sales completely and still make effortless sales with a roasting hot pipeline of 5-star inbound leads. Fourthly, you're going to embrace the hell out of AI, okay? You've got to get on the AI wagon. I'm going to help you in the next few episodes on how I've done that and how you can do that. And you're going to do that to reduce operational complexity, not to create content, okay? You're not going to use ChatGPT to make bullshit content like every other dork out there and just end up just becoming this beige thing that just throws stuff onto the internet and adds to this problem. You're going to do things differently. And then fifthly, you're going to actually build a dream lifestyle boutique education business that fuels fun, freedom, and fulfillment. I think that sounds sick. It's what I have. I want you to have it too. Now, here's the cool thing. It ain't just me just doing it, okay? We've got guys like Dan, record 20K a month. Patricia, just this year, I've helped her go from 0 to 30K a month in her education business, where she helps software engineers get jobs and get businesses, software engineers. We've got Austin, who's been traveling the world. I've been working with him for nearly a couple of years now, and he's doing 40K a month, living the life of his dreams. He's been at Bali for the last few months. It's been absolutely sick, crushing it. We've got Nick. He is a business coach to salon owners. He's actually got to 60K a month now, but this screenshot says 50K, so I'm going to leave it. But he's made it to 60K this year. He's an absolute killer. We've got Oscar, record 60K a month in his education business, where he helps people learn Chinese. We've got Lou, 70K a month, had her biggest month ever, 43 new clients in a single month. That is mental. We've got Richard, who had a record 97K month. He helps dentists get shredded. We've got Taryn, who had her first 100K month this year, a few months ago. I had dinner with her last night. She actually told me that for this month, she was on 161K last night for October. It was October 31st, so I think she wrapped up at 161K for October. And we've got Louis as well, who is a business coach and bodybuilding prep coach who had back-to-back 100K months a couple of months ago. He's absolutely living the life in Thailand. He operates in the French market, French speaking only, and he's crushing it with this flywheel system instead. Okay, so let me show you what the old way was compared to the new way which I'm doing it. So the old way, typically, you'd have 4 functions. You'd have marketing, you'd have ads, you'd have sales, and you'd have client success. I have ads in here because I know people typically, if they have a content team, they've got 2 separate sides to the content team. And ads, in my opinion, isn't like organic content. They are 2 different levers that you pull. But typically what people are doing is they're spending 10% on their marketing costs, organic marketing, 25% from their ad costs, as we saw in that example of spending 24 grand to be able to make 100 grand. Sales team spending 20% on that, 10% on client success. So that ends up with a 35% operating profit margin. You're making 100K in revenue, 65K in variable expenses, 35K profit before tax, before paying yourself, before being really pissed off with what's going on and what you've built. The new way is what I've done this year. I've simplified things into 2 main business systems. The first up is we have an attention system. I'll leave it to your imagination to know what that's all about. But quite simply, it's helping get eyeballs on what I do. I keep things really dumbass simple. I operate on Instagram. I spend 2K a month on my Instagram team. I spend 2K a month on my YouTube team. And I spend around $3,000 a month on what I call flywheel advertising. So those are flywheel ads that we're going to talk about in a couple of episodes' time. Then instead of having sales and client success, I've merged these 2 systems into one, essentially just AI-powered client success system. And I have a systems operator that I pay around $5,000 to help me implement AI systems that allow me to operate and manage all of my clients in a much, much simpler and just more streamlined and scalable fashion. So what I've done this year is, instead of having this 35% operating profit margin, I've been operating between 88% and 96%. My record month was 96% at 194K in new business. So let's see that the maths are simple. 100K in top line revenue, 12K in fixed expenses, ending up with 88,000 in profit. So here's the game that you're gonna have to play. I want you to think about this as kind of like smaller and smaller pools, okay? So like we got a big pool, and that really is all of the people on a platform. For me, my platform is Instagram. Okay, we then get followers, right? So we get people to follow us. We then turn those followers into leads. We get them onto our email list. We offer opportunities to see behind the curtains, what I call a BTC offer. We turn a lead into a customer with a micro transaction. That customer, a small proportion of those customers, will then turn into paying clients, high ticket clients, and those high ticket clients, most of them hopefully, will eventually turn into case studies. Now, the reality is that not all of them will turn into case studies. That is the reality of online education. That's the reality of education in itself. There's always going to be a bell curve of results. But the most valuable people in your world, in your ecosystem, are the case studies. And that has to be the focus of all of your energy. So instead of building this complex funnel set of systems, all of these bullshit things, looking at all of these micro numbers and all this stuff that honestly gives me a headache just thinking about it, I keep things dumbass simple. What we have in our One Simple Flywheel, we have 4 core business systems. The first thing that we're trying to do within our business system is not what you think. It's in fact, we are looking to transform people's lives. That is the very first thing that we do as education business owners. If you can't transform someone into the situation, the circumstance, the vision of what they have as a dream, you don't have the right to get into the arena to do this next stage, which is to fascinate. Our job with content is to grab people's attention. And the best way to do that is by fascinating them. So that's the second part of this flywheel. The third part is we then turn those people who have become followers from these platforms into leads. And then what we do is we educate those leads to build depth of a relationship. We then activate those leads, turning them into cash by becoming customers, by offering them what I call behind the curtains or BTC offers. They're kind of like microtransactions, showing people a glimpse behind the scenes. The next thing is simply we invite them to become high ticket paying clients, working with us. And those are the people that give us the most money. Our job is then, once again, to take those clients and transform them into case studies. And those are the most valuable people that we can have in our One Simple Flywheel ecosystem. Okay, so here's how we do it technically. To fascinate people, we make one simple post every single day on a short form platform. We turn those people from followers into leads and then convert them into our One Simple community, which in my world, as a definition, is an email list. That is the single most powerful and profitable asset that you will ever own, your email list. And that, in my opinion, should be your One Simple community, not a group, not a fucking Discord, not a Facebook group, not a school group. Your One Simple community is an email list. We then educate those members of your community through depth content on a long form content platform channel like YouTube or Spotify, a podcast. We turn those leads into paying customers. We then invite them to work with us through just one simple video, turn them into paying clients who pay us thousands of bucks. We then, our job is to transform them with the help of one simple offer. No complex bullshit of multiple offers, one simple offer that you are going to ride to 7 figures. And you're going to turn those mofos into case studies. And those people are going to be the proof that you can actually do what you say you can do. Okay, like I said at the beginning of this video, I had one offer for you, all right? I'm going to help you build your minimum viable flywheel for 2026. How you can scale a lifestyle boutique education biz from 6 to 7 figures per year. What we're going to do here is we're just going to make the choice. You are going to choose which tools you're going to use to simply grow your business, okay? So first up, we're going to start with Fascinate. You're going to choose one short form platform. If you are a writer, if you prefer to write, or you have a business to business offer, my recommendation is to choose LinkedIn as your short form platform. Do not use Twitter or X, whatever it is, or TikTok. Fuck TikTok. Next up, if your perfect future client is a little bit older, a little bit more mature, and you also like writing, and you have a B2C offer, then go for Facebook. If you're just a classic millennial, Gen Zer, you're cool, you're down with the kids, that kind of vibe, and you have a B2C offer, then you're just going to go with Instagram. Or if you like creating videos rather than writing, you're going to go with Instagram. You're going to lean into the thing that you love doing. This is how we're going to fascinate people with one simple post a day. Next up, we need to have some tools to turn people into leads. So from followers into leads. I've got 4 things that I use here to do that. I've used ManyChat to drive over 20,000 email leads over the last 12 months. It has been an incredible engine for not only my organic growth, but also for my One Simple community growth. Another magnet that I use is my free group magnet. So I use a Skool Community as a magnet. It's where I host all of my resources. So everything is in one place. By the way, if you want to join it, the link will be down in the description. You can join it. It's free. It's got all of the free resources. It's got loads of free resources in there that are going to help you get started. Next up, we have an Insiders Insights newsletter. So this is giving behind the scenes daily or multiple times a week Insiders Insights, which I share. So when you join my group, when you join any of my magnets, that's where you're going to get put onto. And that's where I'm sharing the in real time behind the scenes of what's going on and how I'm building my business in real time. It's super sick. And then finally, and this is the kind of meta aspect to what I'm doing here. So you are currently part of a mini course magnet. So this video is part of a 6-part mini course that I launch once a year. And this has been the core engine of my flywheel for the last 12 months. I launched my last one 12 months ago. This one is an updated one with all of the new stuff that I've learned since then. Okay, next up, you're just going to decide, are you a YouTuber first or are you a podcaster first? You make the decision, whichever you choose. Let's just say you prefer consuming podcasts. You're going to be a podcaster first, and you are going to then redistribute the podcasts on YouTube, because YouTube is just a distribution channel. But if you're a YouTuber first kind of person like me, I listen to podcasts not as often as I watch YouTube videos. So I'm a YouTube first kind of guy. I'm a visual first kind of guy. So the way I'm going to educate my One Simple community is I'm going to post on YouTube as I've done, and then I'm actually going to take and redistribute this content on my podcast on Spotify. So I'm a YouTuber first, podcaster second. They're just distribution channels, but you have to choose which one you're going to do first, because you need to identify as a podcaster or a YouTuber. We'll talk about that in the 4th episode. The next thing we need to do is we need to turn people into paying customers, people who are going to give us a little bit of money. This is a great way to access like locked and hidden cash within your audience, within the people that follow you, but don't have enough money to pay you as a high ticket client. And it's an awesome tripwire to get people into your high ticket offer. We have a few different assets that we use here. The first is our chat to close system, the way we have conversations with prospects. The next is our One Simple video, which is our simple video that helps people understand what we do and how they can work with us. The next is a behind the curtains offer. This is something that is just wrapped up into a micro offer. It could be a paid workshop. It could be a paid video. It could be a mini course. It could be anything that's just wrapped up into a $50 to $200 offer. And the final asset is our flywheel ads, a very specific type of advertising that I use, the only advertising that I use to help keep me in the top of mind of my audience. Next up, we're going to decide how we're going to turn customers into paying clients. Then we just need to decide, what are we going to do? How are we going to invite people to become high ticket paying clients? We're going to choose either calls absolutely work. I just choose not to do them, or chat. Chat is what I choose to do. Okay, super simple. We're going to use One Simple offer document, and this is going to be our invitation to help people become high paying clients, which we're going to help transform either using asynchronous coaching or consulting, synchronous coaching or consulting, which is spending your time one-on-one with people, or what I do, which is a hybrid. It's a hybrid between one-on-one synchronous calls, so I get on a call with my clients when I start working with them, and then asynchronous, where I help them asynchronously. They send me questions whenever they want, whenever they can, and I answer them to help them get clarity on the next steps. So this is my choice. You're just going to choose whichever one is right for you. And then we're going to use our painkiller program. This is a method that we're going to talk about in a couple of episodes' time to help our clients receive the transformation that you promised that you would give them. And then those are going to be converted into case studies for you to use as an asset, again, to fascinate. And that, my friends, is the One Simple Flywheel. Okay, so hopefully you've got some clarity on the big picture, on how you can build your dream lifestyle boutique business next year. Over the next 5 videos, I'm going to break down each of the components, so you know exactly what tools, systems, platforms, all that shit I've used to build my One Simple Flywheel. In the next one, though, we're talking about the 5 fundamental laws of educational design, which, if you're serious in becoming a leader in your market, you're going to love this one. If it's out already, you can go watch it here, but if it's not yet, I'm going to throw up another banger for you in the meantime. Right, that was sick. I'll see you in the next one.